Hello, everyone. Sorry, we're a little bit flustered here tonight. We are, let's start over again. We're a little bit flustered tonight because we had a little bit of a fast start. But this is the Boy and Girl Thing show. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And this is the Going Bold evening. So we want to thank you all for joining us here. Now, those of you that don't know what our show is about, the boy is missing, and we're hoping that he's going to be logging in here soon. From what I hear, he's attempting to do so. So we will bear with it and just go forward. If you don't know me, I am Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of Relationship Building. I am a divorce, dating, and life coach. And I help everyone, the singles in our area and overseas and nationally through some of the darkest times in their lives. I help them through a relationship loss and through that transition of dating and moving on and really loving their life, loving the life that they're in. And so I'm sorry, but my camera's a little bit weird here. So I was just trying to fix it before we started. But I have Dr. Christopher Salute with me. He's going to be joining me. He's having a little bit of trouble with his computer. It died. And so now he's rushing madly to get it fixed. So we are here in my office, and I want to thank you guys for joining us. So Hugh will be popping on, but tonight we're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about, I believe, interacting on social media, which is a very important topic because you and I both know we're all on social media. Oh, I think he's here with me now. Hold on just a moment.
Hey,
Hello.
good evening. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing okay. So you've been having a little bit of trouble there, huh?
So
I
I got the, I don't know if you could tell, but I got the new office set up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like working all the kinks out because this office was apparently like a porch when I bought the house. So there's only one outlet, and I think I'm plugging in too many things into this outlet because my computer keeps shutting off. But I think we're going to be okay.
Okay. Okay. That might be a problem. Looks good though. I like the wood and everything that's behind.
Thank
You got
you. Thank you.
shelves and oh
I
yeah,
got my
you're getting
yep.
jazzed up.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm just going to share the show a little bit, make up for my lost time. But what did I miss? What were we chatting about tonight?
Well, I just introduced the show itself myself, and I then we're ready to introduce you. So let's introduce you.
Awesome. Good evening. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute, certified life coach, relationship coach, as well as a psychology practitioner, CEO, professor, all that kind of fun stuff. And I thought today, Cece, I'll share the show in a second, but while we introduce the topic, something that really irks me lately, this really grinds my gears, is I see a lot of folks interacting on social media and thinking that that is the way to strengthen their relationship. And I know that we've had this debate on the show before, and I thought maybe we could bring it to full circle. What's the right way to interact on social media, both with each other, right, as well as with other people? And let's assume for a second that we're in a monogamous relationship, right, because we want to make sure that we're keeping those boundaries tight. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And I know that as I was thinking about the show today, I thought, well, Cece and I are going to have some different opinions on this because you didn't grow up with social media the way I did, right? So
No, I did not.
I'm curious to see what your take is as I share the show.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I use social media as a great way of contacting people that I would never be able to really stay in touch with. So I love it in that respect, right? But I do see a lot of stuff on it. And, a lot of the people that I deal with are going through really a tough time in their life. They're going through divorce and they're at the lowest parts of their lives, right? They're really having a struggle. And so when they get on social media, they see like all this wonderful stuff that's being posted, right? It starts really getting them down because sometimes we don't always show the real life. I mean, some of us do. Some of us will go out there and show the dark times in our lives, and every now and then I'll pop up something that's real,
Right.
that happens, and people are like, "Whoa, wow!" Like when I lost my dad and things like that. People were with me when he was sick and things like that, and I found that way of connecting and that bond and unity that we have on social media can really uplift us but it can also tear us down if we're in a very depressed state. And then we have someone post or they say something negative to us, or they're posting everything that's wonderful and they want to be in that place and they're not. So it's really, it kind of is, it's a little bit of a mental mind game, isn't it?
It
That it
really
does play
is.
on individuals.
Well, one thing that I think about, Cece, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but you got to think about why you're dating someone, right? And maybe you didn't grow up with social media, but maybe you can relate in this way. I see people posting on social media the minute they get into a new relationship, and I would liken it to, you start dating, you're in high school or college or whatever, and you start dating some big guy on campus, and instead of showing genuine care for that person, you're parading him around your arm, and I would imagine the other way too, right? A man doing that to a woman. Right? That's how I feel when I see people posting on social media. I think to myself, are you dating someone because you want to date someone, or are you dating someone because you want to date that specific person?
Well, I know, gosh, you just don't know what the other person is thinking, right? What
Right.
they're going through and how they're feeling. And we're gonna have to hope that their intentions are the best intentions, right?
Right.
Because we do see a lot of that, and then we are envious of that. We see that wonderful relationship, and you're thinking, oh, can I be there? When I didn't have someone in my life, I'd see my friends and people that I've connected with, and they have these wonderful relationships, but you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We can't always assume that everything that's being posted is great. Like, for instance, if someone posts a wonderful meal that they cooked, you don't know that 10 meals before that, they burned them and they were terrible, right? And this is the one meal, the salad, that's actually pretty good.
Right.
So if you guys are listening, I know we do have some listeners out there. If you're listening to us, we do have comments. We accept them, and we love to hear from you. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to say, just post it and we'll pop it up and talk to you live right here online. So it would be great to do that. So yeah, so I mean, I think it's we got a comment already. Great.
Oh, fun. Hi,
Hey,
Cece.
Karen, how are
How's it going?
you?
How
Nice
are
to
you?
see you here. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for listening and posting. We appreciate that.
So,
So, but yeah, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about it?
and oh wow, we got a lot of folks logging into Instagram too. And if you're logging into social media to Instagram, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking about what the best way to interact on social media is when you're in a relationship. And exactly what you just said, Cece. I pulled up in before my computer died. I pulled up some websites today, just kind of talking about what the best ways to interact online when you're in a relationship. And exactly what you just said is very interesting. We don't necessarily know what goes on behind closed doors, and actually experts will tell you that the more a relationship posts on social media about one another, the worse their relationship is doing. Right? Have you ever seen this before? You're looking at someone and you go, oh my goodness, they must look so happy. They're posting on social media, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later, somebody posts, which you shouldn't do, by the way. We'll talk about this completely in the next part of the conversation. Somebody gets on Facebook and goes, I regret to inform you that Cece and I have broken up. It just didn't work out. We're going to be splitting custody of our children, blah, 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 blah. And you go, wow, they just posted on social media. They look so happy. Let's discuss, by the way, by the end of the show, why not to do that, right?
Yeah, and that breaks your heart when you see that. I mean, I've had to do it. I've had to, like I'm very cautious when posting that I'm in a relationship, because I have been dating someone since November, right?
Right.
And we did have a little bit of a up and down thing, and I had posted
Oh, I wouldn't
that
have
we
known.
were in a relationship, and then we kind of stepped back from it for just briefly, and then I took it off, right? And then so when I posted, all my friends, I mean, like hundreds of people, oh, it's wonderful, wonderful to hear and everything.
Yeah.
And then when I take it off, I try to quietly take it off, and then I start seeing, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so thinking, I'm thinking like, oh, so
First of all,
it's hard. It's
yeah.
hard when that happens. And then, I posted it again because we're back together. And so, and it was just a brief thing, but I think that sometimes some of us will go on and slam the other person.
Right. Let's talk about that too.
Yeah, and so, which is a bad thing, because then you can't get that rebound, if that's possible, to bring it back again, to redo. And so, yeah, so it's a hard thing to do. So I try to be careful about things because I want to be respectful to someone, my partner. I want
Yeah.
to be respectful to other people.
I'm gonna
But
take.
but we do want to share the joys in our lives. We do want to share, things that are maybe difficult for us to deal with. And I was going through, the situation with my dad. Many times it was rough for me. I'd spend, hours and hours in the hospital, and I just needed somebody to talk to. And it was a relief for me to post online because my daughter go, "Why, mom, you doing that?" I said, "Because I'm here by myself.
Right.
Here in the hospital room. I don't know if he's going to make it, and I am completely by myself. And so if I post this, I have people that truly care about me that reach out to me. So social media is a beautiful thing in that respect because it does allow us to really get that one-on-one with someone and care about them. There are many people that I have connected with that I've never met them in person, but I know about their lives. I celebrate their children's birthdays. I feel like I'm part of their family now because
Right.
I'm really, into their lives, and I wish them nothing but the best, and I'm there for them when those times are difficult. So yeah, so social media can be a wonderful tool, a wonderful thing.
It absolutely can. And I hope you don't think I was ignoring you, just so the listeners know or watchers know. I'm taking notes on my iPad. I'm not like surfing the internet, right? So a
Oh,
couple of things
he probably is. He's probably talking to some beautiful lady.
I'm looking at adult websites while we're on the.
Sorry, I have something in my eye. Yeah.
um, so the two things that I want to parking lot to come back to at some point, not
Okay.
posting at the breakup, we'll talk about that, and then also, like really smashing your ex. But I don't mean smashing that way. I mean like saying terrible things. But we have one comment, kind of to your point, from chronically coloring. People that post every single thing that happens in their relationship drive me nuts. Like we don't need to know that you had a fight and now you're back with them. And then friends don't like your significant other when you go back to them. So a couple of things that kind of tie this all together. I wanted to read that specifically in connection to your comment. Here's the thing about. Let's talk about the breakup later. Let's talk about laying into your ex online. Let me tell you something. I will unfriend someone that I mean, if I don't know them that well, I will unfriend somebody faster than you could possibly imagine if I see them laying into their ex online, because what's to stop them from laying into me if I make a misstep, right? And I've had people who message me while they're in the middle of a breakup and they go, "This guy's a psychopath and a narcissist and all these things." Let me explain something, and I have some TikToks in my queue about this.
Mhm.
Hundreds of thousands of people can't be narcissists in this country, right? Millions of people can't be narcissists. And if they are, then I guess narcissism isn't that bad, right? But if you're in my inbox or if you're online telling everyone that your ex is the worst person in the world, I'm not going to date you, because odds are, with the way statistics are going, it's not going to last. Or at the very least, we're going to break up once or twice, right? The odds of us breaking up and hitting some bumps in the road, and then you're going to go smash me online, and then I've got to figure out a way to get back and talk to you. What if your mom sees that? And then I've got to go to Thanksgiving dinner with mom, and she's going to question me about the things you put online. There are certain things that should be discussed internally. Now, if you're truly in danger and this person was a terrible, terrible person, right? Then I don't think that's then do that, right? Make sure that you plead for help properly. But to just lay into your ex to do that, to me, that's a steer clear. What are your thoughts, Cece?
Well, when I see it, I think to myself, that person truly loves the other person, and they're
Yeah,
hurting. They're
yeah,
really hurting because what they're doing is they're showing their anger, because it's just a real emotion.
yeah,
They're out of control, something they lost that they wanted. And if they're behaving really badly, like if they're saying a lot of really, you're thinking, you know, wow things, then I think to myself, then okay, two things. One is this person truly behaving in this way? Is this behavior, is this, could this possibly be correct? And the other is, boy, this person is truly hurting. And
yeah,
so, I try not to judge. I really, because I don't want to be judged, so I try not to judge people. I try to love people where they're at. but I do know that it's difficult when people break up, because a lot of times you'll have like, they'll break up and then they'll want you to, to take them off their off your list, because they can watch you, through their for your
Yeah.
friends. And so then you're like, oh gosh, I mean, I still like them. I mean, I
Right.
have an example is, one of my friends broke up, and I'm friends with them, and then now I can't be friends with them anymore, because I have to respect my friend. And it's like, oh, then you feel like you're kind of torn in between, that kind of thing. And so it makes it kind of difficult. So I just think on social media, I just think it's hard, because sometimes we're put in tough spots,
Yeah.
with it,
Well,
and we just have to kind of roll with it.
what I think about with regard to that activity, right? When you're on the friends list or whatever, I guess the first question that I would ask myself is this a social media friend or is this a real friend or both,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Because I have no problem dropping a social media friend, right? If Cece, if you didn't get along with somebody on my social media friends list and said, hey, I had a run in with so and so, I'd be like, okay, I drop them. If you had a problem with my mother, I'd be like, oh, it's not going to happen, right? And I'd have to figure out a way to properly navigate that situation. One of the best things that happened to me, I was seeing somebody recently, and we stopped seeing each other. It didn't work out. I thought that we were both at fault, and most people who looked at the situation, in fact, all people who looked at the situation said the same thing, except for them, and they start talking trash, And somebody else that I'm pretty close with was in the group, and she said, you know what? If you're going to continue to speak about Christopher like that, I can't be your friend. I don't mind that you're not seeing him anymore, right? We could still be friends, but he's not talking trash about you. So don't go ahead and talk trash about him, right? And I thought that was a really noble thing for somebody to do, because you're setting a boundary there. You're saying, look, I see what you're posting online, or I see what you're saying in public, and it's not okay. And I think we can do that if we properly communicate, right? I'm sure your friend didn't ask you to take them off the list, right? Or did they?
Right. Yeah. No, they did. They did ask me to take them
Oh,
off. And
sorry.
take them off. Well, and it was because, and I get it, it's because, and what I tell everyone, if you're going through a divorce or something like that, the best thing to do is get off of social
Just get
media.
off. Yeah.
Just get off for a while, because,
Yeah.
they're worried about, them seeing everything they do and whatever that goes on. And so if that's the case, then get off. Don't go around and ask all your friends to delete the person. Get off it. You take control of yourself, do that type of thing. We
Yeah.
have got a comment. I feel that you can never take back those bad things you say about others online. Oh, absolutely. It's in writing. You
Yeah.
you never can take it back. It'll,
And,
yeah,
and
and it will come back around. You're right.
well, not only can you not take it back, but and I always say this with regard to social media, right? And just in general with relationships, I'm probably not going to message Cece and be like, "Oh, girl, me and my girlfriend had the best day," because it's just not news, right? But I might be like, "Oh man, we had a really bad fight," blah blah, because that's news. You got to be careful with that when you're posting online, because now you're going to get just one specific version of your partner online, right? If you're going to post the bad, you should post the good too. But the reality is, and a lot of people on Instagram are saying this too, maybe just don't post for a little bit, right? Like, not everything that you're living needs to be online. In fact, I had a buddy who I remember he called me. One of my best friends. He called me, and he was at a party for like a big sporting event. He got like invited up to a VIP box, and he called me to tell me to take a picture. I said to him, I'll use a different name. I said, Rick, what are you doing, man? I said, if you're enjoying the party, tell me about it later. Like, go enjoy the party. I don't need to see it. Same thing with being online. If you're enjoying your relationship with someone, you don't need to prove it to me. And that's when it begs the question. And that's why I ask you, Cece, are you dating someone to say you're dating, or are you dating someone because you genuinely care about someone? And I think so many folks, especially from what I've seen, they're so quick to post online, look at me, look at me, look at me, that they're missing the part of genuinely getting to know someone. It's kind of like the analogy, that I always talk about is, are you excited about a wedding, or are you excited about a marriage? Because if you're excited about a wedding, you're excited about the dress and the food and the drinks and the having the fun. But if you're excited about the marriage, that's commitment and genuine kindness and sacrifice and a lifelong partnership. So I would rather someone be quiet online, but be putting their energy into me and I into them, versus them
Right.
telling every little thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to share everything, because you really, I mean, you want to keep some mystery, right? You want to keep a little mystery in your life. So yeah, you don't want to share everything. And the other thing is, I think if you're truly a good friend on social media, you'll be kind of busy looking at your friend's stuff versus
Right.
posting your own stuff. So and I find that with myself, I don't post a lot of stuff about myself, and then I realize, oh, I need to post some stuff because people think I'm not doing anything.
Right. It's
So
funny.
yeah.
A lot of people will say this. There's balance, right? Sometimes loving someone means wanting to share them. Yes, and let's talk about that for a second. I want to also bring up this conversation. I want to wrap this all into one conversation. So, chronically coloring is saying, I've been dating someone I like since November. See a future with him, but I haven't posted a single picture of us or put it in social media because I don't know what's going to happen. First of all, chronically coloring, that really breaks my heart because I didn't see any pictures of your guy online and thought you were single, and here I am. I was really working up the courage to ask you out. I have no idea where you live, but you look like a swell person online.
But see, that's funny because in your generation,
Yeah,
you're using social media as a way to meet people for dating, right?
they do that.
My
Yeah.
generation, it's really not like that. I mean,
I'll tell you what. One of
I'm not saying that I haven't been approached. I mean, I have been
yeah.
approached, but it's not as much as your generation is.
One of our viewers, did you know one of our viewers who I think was a little closer to your age than my age hit on one of my friends on the show?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he saw her commenting on the show and he said, "You're such a beautiful queen and you deserve blah blah." And she's like, "I don't know how to respond to this. I'm married." But it was very funny. But
Thank you very much. But
right.
No, thank you.
I want to wrap chronically coloring, Megan, and your comments into the same thing. So one thing you'll note, a lot of my friends, and I don't know if you've noticed this about me too, Cece, a lot of my friends will message me and they'll go, "Are you okay?" And I'll go, "I'm okay. Why?" And they go, "Well, you're posting a lot online, and usually when you're posting a lot online, you're sad, right? Because like you don't have things going on. You're not keeping yourself busy. When you don't see me post for 5 days or an entire weekend, it means I'm out there living my life, right?" And to Megan's end, my partner and I, for example, we just started posting about each other online. And actually, my ex and I had each other blocked, not because we hated each other, but because we really weren't ready to see that yet, that kind of stuff. And I told her, I said, "Look, just so that you know, I'm very much in love with this person. You're gonna, if you unblock me, you're gonna start seeing this person online, and I need you to know that that's going to happen because I'm very proud of this person and that I love dearly. And even though we do have a bit of an openness to our relationship, I need people to know that this is my person." And she's like, no, that's totally fine. But there comes a time and a place, I think, to chronically coloring's point, where you decide to show the world that you're dating someone, and you're going to invite some oddities when that happens. I'm a person that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm going to say, well, that means you're claiming it, right?
Yeah. Well,
that's one of the steps in a relationship is when you claim each other, right? Because I know that when I first started dating, I will say that it was kind of step back. Well, we won't post on social media. So then that means that there's still a little foot out the door. We're thinking, maybe there's an escape here, right?
Right.
But now it's like, now it's like, post that we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Make sure you post. And even the other day he asked me, "Is it still up that we're in a relationship?"
and
yes, it is.
And it's tough too. By the way, if you're checking us out on Instagram, I'm gonna have to let you go because we're heading over to TikTok. But don't go to TikTok. Do me a favor. Go to my stories and click on the YouTube link. We really want you to follow us on YouTube so that you can comment, right, and be part of the show. So I'm going to let you go on Instagram, and I'll be with you all in a second. So head over to YouTube, okay? One thing that's important to note: not only are you claiming them, but you may be inviting. So my partner and I are both kind of public people, right? Mm-hmm. And so we really thought about this and thought, when are we ready to have? Oh God, I shouldn't post this video. I look terrible. We thought about when we post about ourselves online, what that's going to look like to other people. And so I was nervous, you know my history, right? I was nervous that women were going to message her and be like, oh, you're dating that slime bucket, and she's also a very coveted person online. So I was nervous the guys were going to message me and be like, you took my girl, kind of a thing. But so far we've been okay.
Well, if someone does something like that, then you have to look at the person that's sending the message. That's another thing. When people, if you post something and then you get a negative response to it, you can't take ownership of that response. All you can do is that's the person that posted it. And
Sure.
so either delete it, don't worry about it. I mean, I know that out there people get really negative responses, and if that's the case, then just move on from it, because it wasn't. As soon as you take ownership of that, you start feeling something from that, then they have you. So that's not what you want to do. You just want to delete it and move on, because people are just the way they are. We've got several comments here, so I think we need to post some of. I think did we cover this one here that Megan said?
There's a
balance, right? Sometimes loving someone means wanting to share them with the world, not everything, but some of it. Yes, that's true.
Megan,
And this one here, one of the best things I have ever seen was my friend of mine started dating her now husband, and she created a secret Instagram and a post all the pictures and stories on there after they got engaged.
So in other words, did she show up?
Made the Instagram public and shared it.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I mean, there's so many. I mean,
I'll be damned if every time I post something publicly, the relationship goes to pieces.
Right.
Sometimes that does happen too, and that's like, oh man.
Right. Exactly. But that is true though. It is possible that when you start posting online, you're going to have that issue, right? People are going to be in your face about that. My whole thing is this: is what before you post something, you just have to genuinely think about why you're posting it, right? If you're posting it because you want to share your loved one, to Megan's point, right? So my partner's Megan. If you want to post something about your partner because you've enjoyed that experience, right? Then that's fine, right? And do that. But if you're going to post because you just need to show off or whatever the motivation is, I don't know, the karma is going to come back to bite you. You know what I mean? You got to really care about someone before you post about them online, because it's going to invite an energy. The other part of it, Megan says hi. The other, and I debated saying that or not, but it's fine, whatever. The other part of that, I don't know how, you've lived a little bit longer than I have, Cece, just a little bit. And, I don't know if you've experienced this, because you're a spiritual person, you're a religious person. When I share publicly things that are going on in my life, when I'm studying for a test or I'm up for a promotion, I feel, and it's public, right? I feel as though I'm inviting energy into that event that may not belong there, right? Because you don't know what other people's intentions are for you, right? But if you share with a small group of people, then you know what their intentions are. So posting things online, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you're inviting an energy into that relationship, and you don't know what other people are thinking about your relationship and the karma and the energy that they're sending.
That's true. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I would say the majority of people, I mean, there's only a few that I can think of that are negative that I have on social media. I mean, everybody's always very supportive, very good. I mean, my problem is probably I post a little bit too much work stuff, because work is my life, right? It's my passion to help people going through a difficult time. So I post a lot of stuff like that. And I know a lot of my friends have great relationships, and so they're not really there, and it really isn't good for them, but I figure like, well, if I post it, as I said to them before, when I post stuff, if you don't like it, just move on from it. But if you have somebody in your life that needs to hear this stuff, share it with them, because maybe it will help them. And so that's why I post a lot of my work stuff, because it is me, it is who I am. But I will say about the negativeness, I have a couple family members that are horrible to me, right? That I don't even talk to anymore, that I have blocked on everything under the sun, because they had shared on social media hatred towards me.
Yeah.
And it just shocks me that they are like that. But again, the negative and the hurtness, and everything that I felt, I experienced that. I mean, it was just totally unreal. But you're going to get people like that in your life. And, as my mom used to tell me, it takes all kinds of people to make the world go round.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
when there's somebody negative that comes into your life and they do something that, just doesn't resonate with you, you're going to have to block them. You're going to have to move on from them, and just take it as that's the way they are, and move from it.
And if you're just joining us on TikTok, by the way, we're talking about social media interaction and how it kind of goes hand in hand with the dating scene, right? Like when you're dating someone, how much you post about them online. Also, and we haven't gotten into this, maybe we should do in the second part of the show, what your interactions with other people should look like when you're dating someone, right? With regard to social media. So we've gone through a lot of the breakup stories, a lot of those types of things. We need to be very careful about what we post online when we're going through a relationship, when we're ending a relationship, because we're giving people, somebody told me this years ago, Cece, when I really first started building my online brand, he said to me, you have built a personality online that is not a bad thing, but it's entirely different than the person that you are in real life. It's a very washed version of you, right? And it's a very professional, very forward version of you. And he said, I really like that you did that. And he asked me to build his brand online. The same thing can be said of your relationship, right? When you're posting about your relationship, you have to be careful about what you're posting, because you're posting a very specific version of your relationship. If everything you post are cryptic things like, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be, John, or I guess Cindy doesn't really care about me, then people aren't going to like John and Cindy. I know of a couple. They were posting. They called the cops on each other, and they're posting it online. And it's like, all right, first of all, if you're in real danger, let's be careful, right? If you're going to come back from that, you got to explain that to thousands of people now. And or maybe you don't, right? And
But
that's
all right, well, think about it for a minute. I mean, if they're the kind of people that call the police on each other, what does
right.
that say? I mean, holy smokes.
Right.
No wonder they have a difficult relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So
Exactly.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I totally get it, and I know that. I mean, for me, I I am who I am, and so I do post sometimes the really raw part of me. Like when
Right.
I lost my father, when my father was sick, when I was going through, and I went through some difficult times in that transition of having my life and living my life the way I wanted to and happy, and then having to take care of my father, where I had to make a whole 360 and devote my life to him. And that was a difficult thing for me to create that shift, because even in my work environment, I was doing like events and all kinds of stuff, which I could no longer do.
Right.
So it's like I had to make this complete, not only career shift, but I had to make a personal shift in my life. And so I struggled with that, going through that. And I have to say, it was really my Facebook friends that really helped me through a lot of those difficult things. So, which we did not have years ago. We didn't have that type of thing. So I'm wondering if maybe I look at Facebook as a blessing, not as, as something that's difficult. I look at them, at the people that I have. I mean, I can name off a handful of people that as soon as I post something, they always click on it. They always do something.
Yeah.
Not everybody does, but I mean, there's about 5 or 6 that I know that will always respond to everything that I post, and in a very positive, uplifting way. And they're there for me. So I just think it's a blessing. I think it's what you make of it. And if you're going to be a negative and want to bash people, then you're showing an element of yourself that's negative, right?
Yeah.
It's something that, and if you're looking to date people and they see this kind of person, they don't see, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't be sad and be raw, maybe a little bit on there, but a little bit emotional or that kind of thing. But if you're like a roller coaster ride, who wants to date you?
Right.
I mean,
Right. Well, there's
yeah.
so much to be said about that. I also want to hit up Meg Co says phone friends are highly underrated. We should talk about that. But I also want interesting. You mentioned the group of people who really focus and love all your stuff. There's a great meme out there that says, to the 5 people who always liking my post, y'all want anything from the gas station? And it's like a fun, when you go to the gas station, you want to see if anybody wants anything. But it's true, right? You're always going to have you're solid people. I mean, you can look at the roster of people who watch my show. These are people who are important parts of my life as well. I just started my premium Instagram. I got invited to be an Instagram influencer and do the premium version. And a lot of the folks who signed up are my friends. And I'm like, why are you signing up? I'll just send you the stuff. And they said, well, because I want to support you. They buy my book and all those things. Mm-hmm. And so those are definitely your core people. I want to, if we can, take the last couple of minutes to Cece. We're talking, by the way, on TikTok about interacting online. What we haven't really touched upon is when you're in a relationship, what should your interactions with others look like on social media?
You mean like for me with other men? Is that what you're saying?
Other men, other women, what do you need to be conscious of when you're in a relationship now?
Well, I mean, I have had guys hit me up, they have, right. Reached out. And I think I have to look at I have a lot of friends that I don't know because of what we do. And so I'll sometimes friend people. What I do right away now, because I have so many of them, I look to see, if they're looking for just women, right? If they just have women they're friending. If they do, then I don't accept their friendship. But if they have a mixture, then I'm thinking, well, maybe they actually want to be a friend with me, or maybe they're doing something in business. They want me to help kind of promote them or whatever, which I'm always happy to do. I'm always happy to promote somebody because I know what it's like to start out. And so, so I'll accept their friendship. And then if they send me a message and they start with the message on the messenger and they start doing all that stuff, and I say, listen, I'm in a relationship, I'm sorry. Yeah. And I will say that. And then if they say one more thing back, I block them. I don't even.
Even if you're not in a relationship, I mean, the odds, and this happens on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook all the time. You get random messages from people, even me as a guy. I mean, I don't get this as much as women do, but just random messages, lewds and all these other things. I mean, get to know. Look, I'll get spicy with you, but get to know me, right? Like know who you're talking to before you get spicy. One of the things I posted on TikTok recently was, these guys out here. I post a lot about body positivity, and these guys out here talking about their fetishes. Oh, let me touch that belly and those types of things. Let me explain something to you or anyone. Let me touch your belly if you like a plus size woman. It's an okay thing to say to the woman you are dating and have consent from. But if you're out here asking 1,000 people that question, you know what kind of reputation you're going to get? So the people who are messaging you that, who else are they messaging in that way?
Well, I don't get messages like that. And if I do, I immediately block them.
Right.
You know what? To me, I don't like anyone. If I don't know you, don't get, like you called it, spicy. Don't put a spicy message out there to me because you'll be history, because it's not going to happen, because I think it's inappropriate. That's not what you do. That's not how you approach someone. And maybe I'm old school or whatever, but I think you have to be respectful. We do have a bunch of comments here, so I wanted to put them on. She said, this is the reason I want to find not a problem. You never know the energy of someone else's partner. Then the person I will share the relationship with is the other person, not social.
Okay, so you're sharing with another person. That's fair. That's a lot of sharing going on.
Okay, then she goes on to say, oh, I always look at the way someone is in a relationship. If you have a new relationship every other month and you post them everywhere and you're so in love for 32 days, you are together.
Right. So like soulmate for 32 days, right?
Yeah. To the next, your emotional maturity has a lot of growing to do. Yeah, that's true. Well, and and I think about that too. When I'm dating, I think, at the beginning, I hate to post it right away because I don't know what's going to happen to it. And I don't want someone to judge me if it does fall through, because it happens. I mean, it does. You start connecting and then something happens and it's not really the right thing for you. And so you hate to be judged by that.
I'd be more worried about those people judging because they sound like jerks, right? We've got some comments over here on TikTok. Meg says, yes. I wouldn't say anything that I wouldn't be okay with my person seeing. And Vicky in her 40s says, I've never been told that. I wouldn't like that, I think, to the belly comment, which, again, to each their own. Some people like it, some people don't. One of the things that I think about, too, when posting on social media with regard to my relationship is, if I had to explain what I meant to my person, to my significant other, is that easily explained? Right. And also, I also think about this. If my person could see every comment that I said, would they like that? Number two, Moreover, if I am giving the impression to other folks that my person is not that important, what does that say about the value of my relationship, right?
Mhm.
So, it's even changed the way I get. I get a lot of spicy comments on my social media because I do, and I know what I'm doing. I tend to pair my life coaching and life tips with a little bit of spice, right? I throw out a picture of me in a suit because I know it's going to get your attention, or with my shirt off or whatever. I don't know why you guys like it, but you do. And I know what I'm doing, right? But what that does is it invites these comments from, oh, you're so attractive, you're so sexy. Now that I'm in a committed relationship and have been for some time, where I'm ready to really be committed to that person, I used to comment jokingly about those comments back. Now I'm much more reserved when I comment back, or when I answer those questions, because I don't want to give the wrong impression out there that my partner is someone that you can just put to the side. She's a person. I had somebody the other day message me and say, I'm going to be in Vegas. And I've known them for a long time. It's a great, we have some similar interests. If you're interested in getting coffee, sure, let's do that. And she said to me, well, hopefully you'll be single by then. And I said, why would that matter? I said, first of all, my partner and I are non-monogamous. So if I wanted to flirt with someone, I could flirt with someone. But what a crummy thing to say to someone. And I stepped right in and I said, that's not going to happen. I said, my person's my person. And my person's going to be my person for a very long time. And it makes me kind of uncomfortable that you say that. But then I question myself. Did I give people the impression that I'm someone you can just say that to? And it really made me question what I post about on social media. So look within, too. Make sure you're posting the right stuff that is giving your partner the right value. Otherwise, you're disservicing them.
Right. I have to think about that a lot when we do shows, because we share a lot about our own personal life, and so when we're doing that, like for my exes and things like that, I try to be as respectful as possible, because I have children. So I want to make sure that I don't embarrass them by posting something that's not appropriate. So it's a fine line that you do walk, on your postings and things like that. So I think at the end of the day, and I know we're going to have to probably wrap up here in a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why are you truly on social media? What is it that you are wanting from that? Are you truly wanting to connect with other people? I know why I'm on it. Number one, to advertise what I do, of course, to get it out there, what I do. But I'm also on it for my own personal connection, because I have found that those that I connect with not only lift me up, but give me the opportunity to do the same for them. And I think that's the thing. It's like my mother used to always say, if you want to be a friend, if you want to have friends, you need to be a friend.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we have to do on social media. If we want to build our friendships with people, what kind of friend are we? And so we have to look at that, so I scroll, and, all the grandchildren, babies, I try to make as many comments as possible. If not, if I'm in where I can't make a comment, I make sure I do a heart. I always make sure that I'm responding, because I want to have them in my life. I want them to be a part of my life as equally I want to be a part of theirs. And so that's what I think we're missing. I think social media, a lot of times we're looking at them to be a part of our life, to lift us up, and to get us through some of the difficult times in our lives. But are we truly reaching out and helping other people, go through theirs? Are we celebrating their life as we want them to celebrate ours?
You bring up an interesting point into TikTok as well. I have noticed that as you were saying that, my thought process was this. I use social media also to promote my life coaching and to promote my book. By the way, go buy my book. And a lot of people, and I've said this outwardly, people go, you don't spend a lot of time online, looking at other people's stuff. I go, no, I kind of just post and then I go. And what I just realized is I'm probably not getting the positive energy that I'm expecting from folks, because I'm not giving it out. And so it comes full circle with this relationship conversation is, if you're putting out the good stuff about your relationship, or being reserved, or whatever it is that you're going to do, whatever you're going to put out is going to be what you get back out in, right? And so I think what's important for us to note is, no matter what the scenario, whether it's a relationship or your personality, your personal life, you need to put in some positive energy into these folks for them to come back and say positive things to you. So I like that, Cece. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that we, and I'll probably close with this. I think that we have to be, truly authentic as to who
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
And, if you see the rants and the rates of people, if they're going on ranting and carrying on and they're expending all this energy, that's probably really who they are. They're
Right.
going through
Right.
a really tough time. And so we want to embrace them when they're going through that stuff, or we want to step aside, so
Yeah.
we have to make a decision on what we want to do. But I just feel like we have to know reasons why we're on social media. We truly want the connection. Like, the things that I post, I share and things like that. I think about it. I mean, I think about if I post this, if I share this with someone, would it help them go through something? Will it touch their lives? Will it maybe do something that might embrace what they're going through? And so I'm very methodical about what I do share with them. And then I also share my personal life. Like this weekend I went with my daughter and we did a Jeep run, and it was so much fun. And so my daughter posted a bunch of pictures on the Jeep run, and I tell you, I rode with Tracy, and we had open air Jeep, and she went through the mud puddles and stuff like that. It was just a little thrill. She did a lot of other stuff she'll do, but I know with me, she was very tame. But I got all wet and muddy, and it was fun. I had a really good time.
That sounds fun.
So I think that, I wanted to share that with people, letting them know that this is a great group of people, and I'm having a good time with them and enjoying the Jeeps, and it's truly and awesome. It's like, if you look at the biker clan, and you think they're a wild group. Well, these people are not wild groups. They're professionals, and they're really sweethearts, and we'll let you ride with them and stuff. They're really great people. So I had a good time. So if you want to look at those pictures, they're on my Facebook page.
We'll do.
But I love to connect with anybody. So if you want to be a friend, just reach out and be friends with me. But I think we have to be authentic and give to people what we expect. We have to give back, right?
Yeah. I love that. And I know we need to wrap up, and on TikTok, watch our next show too. So our next show of the evening on Bold Wednesdays, we're going to talk about toxic masculinity, and you don't need to be a man to come and talk about toxic masculinity. So feel free. So you've been watching WGSN-DB, Going Solo Media, and Going Solo Radio. This is the Going Bold Wednesday. We are your hosts, Dr. Christopher Salute and Cece Shatz. Tonight we talked about relationships and social media and how they kind of impact one another. And this is probably a conversation we could revisit every 6 months, because the face of social media changes so often, right? But I think what we learned tonight, and I always try to learn a lesson from every conversation with Cece because she's so brilliant. But I think what we learned tonight is people are watching, right? People are paying attention. And so be aware of what you're putting out there online, and also be aware of what you're bringing into your relationship as well. So if you don't want to invite negative stuff into your relationship, don't put it out there. Right.
So and stick around. I want to just make a quick comment on your show tonight, because I want the ladies to actually listen to it, because what I am hearing more and more is that women are turning more towards their masculinity, which is hurting them in dating.
Interesting.
And so that we need, as women, we do need to show our feminine side. We do need to have that and exert that feminine side. So I hope that you'll bring that up in the show, because I think that that's an important thing, is that, women, we do, because we're out there working, we're out there making a living, doing all those things, but we forget, and we bring that home, and we've got to turn back on into the authentic woman that we are. And so,
absolutely. You got it.
All right, we got to go.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye. I hope you guys catch us next time. Bye.
You got it.